What's going on, everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. The main topic that I wanted to talk about in this video is, are cryptocurrencies ready to move higher, in the sense that can we really go much lower from here? Because we already dropped a huge amount. This is in fact one of the biggest, if not the biggest drop from the highs that Bitcoin has ever experienced, and it is a significant pullback, right? Now, we know that it's very unlikely, pretty much impossible, that cryptocurrencies just die out, especially big ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's just too much money invested. Miners, the ecosystem, the network is supported at a level where we can't really go back from that, right? And that's really interesting because when you think about it, it's just a cycle where, yes, we did experience a big pullback, but we're going to start to bottom out, and then, we should be ready to move higher from there. I think that we're approaching that step, right? That step of bottoming out, flattening out, and then going higher. So I'll get to that during the technical analysis in just a second. But over the past 24 hours, we're pretty mixed across the board here. Some green, some red. Overall, not that much happening. We're kind of waiting for the next bigger move. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter for live cryptocurrency market updates. I've been very active on there, so definitely check that out. Link to that in the description of this video. Get free, valuable crypto information almost daily. And not that much news going on. No news is really affecting the market that much, so there's nothing there to talk about. But let's jump right into the technical analysis, because we can see some pretty interesting things going on. So first off, I wanted to mention that we are still in our symmetrical triangle formation, and that means a couple things. First off, usually with these formations, we do end up reaching the end of the formation, right? And the end of the formation here on the Bitcoin chart, which is of course the market leader, is lower than we're currently at. It's at around $4,750, which would indicate a further drop in price in the near future. Now, is it possible that that happens? Of course. It's actually relatively likely. With that being said, there is an opportunity here that we end up, just stabilizing right where we're at now, right above $6,000, and just consolidate from here. That's also a pretty likely scenario, I'd say, at this point. We're already getting some signs of that, with the indicators that are starting to flatten out, on some charts even starting to turn bullish, and Bollinger Bands flattening out, price holding above $6,000 pretty nicely. Of course, within the next few days, right, within the next 2 to 3 days, we'll see if we're going to be able to break out of the downtrend line, at which point we'll probably consolidate from there, or if we're going to drop lower, which would mean, reaching the end of the formation most likely over the next few weeks. And I will mention that if we do end up breaking out of the downtrend line, which is of course, the better case scenario here, I don't think we're going to be ready to just get a huge run up right away, right? Especially after what happened. And if you look at the Bollinger Bands and the resistance ahead, it's going to take some time. We're really going to have to consolidate. That could take weeks, maybe even a few months before we really clear out that consolidation completely. And then, as soon as we maybe move back above $10,000, that's when we'll really be in the clear for a new bull run, so to say. Now, last thing that I wanted to mention is that we can see a bullish divergence on the MACD. This is actually a really interesting formation because the price has been moving lower. If we look at the lows here, we're pretty flat, but the MACD has been uptrending, right? Same thing on the histogram. And if I'm not mistaken, even the RSI is showing a very slight uptrend even. So right now, we do have a bullish divergence that's very clear on the MACD compared to the price, and that is a bullish sign, which usually means that, sometime in the future, we're going to see a reversal. So that's something to look forward to. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Ethereum chart, see what's going on. Ethereum is currently just kind of stabilizing right here at around $450. Indicators very flat. Not as much as a bullish divergence here as the Bitcoin chart. So what this tells me is that we're just probably going to consolidate. Once again, it is definitely pretty likely that we could see another drop, basically, right? That's no surprise. I already talked about that there's a pretty high chance that we do end up testing at $361. But even in that point, right, I think that a lot of signs are pointing towards some stabilization here for Ethereum, especially the indicators that are flattening out, and that have been already now for a bit. So that's really being more and more clear by the day, and that usually leads to consolidation, like I said. Let's take a look at Litecoin. Litecoin is bouncing off that $80 mark, and it's actually a little bit weaker than Bitcoin and Ethereum have been, but it's still holding up relatively well. We got back above our 30 line on the RSI. MACD histogram starting to flatten out, and I think that that's going to be followed on the price relatively soon here, where we're probably not going to dip much lower than $70 and just consolidate here between $70 and $100, right? That's actually a pretty good case scenario. What we don't want to see happen is Bitcoin breaking below its uptrend line. Of course, that's always a possibility. It just becomes pretty unlikely considering the drop that we've seen. And if Bitcoin really were to drop below its long-term uptrend line, that means that there's some kind of bigger issue at hand here, something more worrisome, where cryptos are maybe really in for a true disaster, so to say. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Ripple. See what's going on. So we're going to take a look at the Bittrex chart here, and Ripple is currently bouncing right above 45 cents. It is still above 50 cents, which isn't the best sign. With that being said, we're starting to find some support here on the RSI, and that actually shows a bullish divergence here compared to the price. Also a bit of a bullish divergence on the MACD. But indicators definitely starting to flatten out, price as well. I think we could consolidate here. I want to avoid dropping much lower than we're at now, right? Because if we start to move below 40 cents, that's when we might retest 30 cents. Once again, definitely a possibility that that happens, but I'd say that's probably as low as we're going to go, unless there's some kind of bigger disaster at hand here. 30 cents would be, rock bottom, which definitely could be reached, right? Like I said, if Bitcoin goes down again, and reaches the uptrend line, then Ripple could definitely reach 30 cents. We'll just have to wait and see. Let's go ahead and take a look at EOS now, see what's going on. So we're going to take a look at the Binance chart for EOS, and we're actually bouncing back above 13,000 Satoshis. That's a good sign. Hopefully we'll be able to consolidate between 13,000 and 15,000 Satoshis. We also got a really nice bounce on the 30 line on the RSI. That's quite good as well. Once again, it is possible if we see another drop in the crypto market that we test the uptrend line, but hopefully that's as low as we'd go. And at this point, it looks like in the short term, we'll be able to remain a little bit above 13,000 a bit longer here. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Stellar Lumens. And actually, can't forget NEO. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at NEO here. Now, let's see what's going on the Bittrex chart. NEO is actually in the middle of its range between $20 and $43. So it actually reached, basically the levels that we were at pre-breakout. As low as we'd go here, I'd say for NEO is probably $20. But we're already starting to see some flattening out signs on the MACD. So hopefully, we won't be heading too much lower, and that it will really start to stabilize around $30. I expect that to continue for, several weeks here. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Stellar Lumens now. See what's going on. Stellar was actually one of the stronger cryptocurrencies not too long ago, and it did end up dropping below its uptrend line. So at this point, unless we get some kind of quick bounce back above the uptrend line, we're probably going to see quite a bit of consolidation between 3,000 and 3,500 Satoshis. Indicators already recovering a bit, so hopefully we won't be moving too much lower from here. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be, let's see, next cryptocurrency is going to be Lisk, and let's take a look at what's going on. Going over to the Bittrex chart, we can see that Lisk is below $6.24, now starting to consolidate at around $5.30. Indicators all flattening out quite a bit. That's a good sign. We also have bullish divergences on all three indicators, the histogram, the MACD, and the RSI. Those are all very good signals, and like I said, those bullish divergences usually mean that there's a reversal in that should be in the relative near future. So hopefully that will allow us to get back at least above $6.24 to avoid dropping lower here and going down to $4, $3, or even $2, right? If we're able to get back above $6.24, that will most likely be completely avoided. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next cryptocurrency, which is going to be Cardano, and see what's going on. So taking a look at the Bittrex chart here, we can see that Cardano is finally starting to find support at 2,000 Satoshis after almost continuous downside movement for almost a couple of weeks here almost. So we're starting to see the MACD and histogram flatten out. Hopefully we'll get back above the 30 line on the RSI pretty quickly, and we'll just start consolidating between 2,000 and 2,500 Satoshis for now. Let's go ahead and take a look at our last cryptocurrency of the daily crypto update. That's going to be IOTA, and IOTA is steady at 98 cents. I want to really make sure that we avoid dropping lower below $1, because if that ends up happening, right, and we start moving lower in this cent range, we could pretty quickly get to 60, 50 cents, and then, from there all the way down to 30 cents. That would probably be as low as we would go, but, that would wipe out all the gains that we've made, and hopefully we'll really be able to stabilize here. We do have some support at this level, but if we break below that, we'll probably be in for some downside. It's a bit early to tell what the next step is going to be right now for AIDA, since it still is downtrending. We'll have to wait a little bit longer here to really get a better picture. But what we don't want to see is, breaking past 90 cents, let's say. With that being said, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.